You know, every single day, a country's story gets a new page. So we're going to take a look at the headlines from just one day, January 24th, 2026, to really get the bigger picture of a nation on the move. And it all starts with a question.
I know, right? They sound totally random. A sports star, some construction stuff, and rockets. But trust me on this. As we dive in, you're going to see how these are all different threads weaving together the same really vibrant story of evolution and ambition.
Okay, first up, let's talk about the people who are actually driving all this change. See, every national story is shaped by its leaders, and on this one day, we're seeing a huge changing of the guard, everywhere from the sports arena to the corporate boardroom.
And wow, we kick things off with a pretty bittersweet farewell. Saina Nehwal, an absolute trailblazer for Indian badminton, has officially decided to hang up her racket. She's been battling some really severe knee problems. We're talking cartilage degeneration and arthritis, and she just said it's impossible to keep training at that elite level. This isn't just someone retiring. It's the end of a golden era. I mean, her 2012 Olympic bronze, that was a historic first for India in the sport, and it literally inspired a whole new generation of players.
You know, it's funny how that works, isn't it? As one incredible chapter closes, another one always seems to begin. And we're seeing that exact same pattern play out in the business world, where new leaders are taking the helm on this very same day.
So get this. On the exact same day, you have two major appointments. Over at HDFC Bank, Kaizad Baruch's reappointment, that signals stability, right? Continuity. But then you look at Guardian India, where Karnakaran Azizur is taking on this dual role of country head and chief information officer. And that combined role, well, that tells a much, much bigger story.
Because this is huge. It's a sign of a massive shift in thinking. When you ask one person to lead both the country's business operations and its entire information strategy, it shows that these huge global companies aren't just looking at India as a place to save a few bucks anymore. No way. They see it as a critical hub for tech, for AI, for the digital innovation that's going to drive their entire global business.
All right, so from the people leading the charge, let's talk about what they're actually building. Next up, we're going to see how the country is literally building its future with some incredible innovations that are changing its physical landscape from the ground up.
So this all kicks off with something we used to just, well, throw away. Steel slag. It's basically a leftover from making steel, but it turns out the stuff inside it, these calcium and magnesium oxides, make it unbelievably strong and durable. We're talking even stronger than the traditional stone we use for building roads.
Okay, so here's the really cool part. Applying this tech where it's needed the most. There's a big proposal on the table to use this steel slag to build roads up in the Himalayan states. Just think about that for a second. Roads that are way stronger, more resistant to water, and can handle that tough weather, all while turning industrial waste into something incredibly valuable. It's a perfect example of that waste-to-wealth idea in action. But the ambition, it doesn't just stop at the ground level. India's plans for infrastructure are literally reaching for the stars.
And that ambition is taking physical form. Check this out. A brand new spaceport is going to be built on Hope Island in Andhra Pradesh. But this isn't just another government launch site. Nope. This one is specifically for the private sector, for all the startups and commercial companies jumping into the space game. It's all about helping them meet that growing global demand for launching smaller satellites.
Okay, so you've got these huge projects, right? Roads, spaceports, but they need fuel. And I'm not talking about rocket fuel. I'm talking about a strong economic engine. That brings us to our next headline, a massive move to empower the real backbone of the economy, the small businesses.
All right, just look at that number for a second. Let it sink in. 5,000 crore rupees. That is a huge figure, and it's a really strategic investment. The big question is, where's it all going?
It's being pumped into SIDBI, the Small Industries Development Bank of India. And the whole point is to beef up SIDBI's capital so it can get more credit and loans out to the micro, small, and medium enterprises. This is all about making sure that the businesses that create the most jobs and drive local economies have the financial juice they need to really grow.
Okay, so let's pull back from the national picture for a moment and see how India is connecting with and being seen by the rest of the world on this particular day.
So the latest Numbeo Safety Index just dropped for 2026, and it looks at how safe people feel in over 300 cities around the world. The #1 spot globally went to Qingdao in China, but right here in India, the city of Mangaluru took the top spot as the safest in the entire country.
And what's really interesting about this index, the part you've got to know, is how they get their data. This isn't based on official government crime stats. Instead, it's a huge crowdsourced project.
It's built on the real experiences and feelings of the people who use the site. So this ranking for Mangaluru really reflects how safe people actually feel when they're living there or just visit.
And to wrap up our snapshot of this one day, there's one more important thing happening on the world stage. January 24th is the International Day of Education. It's a day to really think about the role learning plays in building peace and a sustainable future for everyone.
And the theme for 2026? Wow, it's a really powerful one. The power of youth in co-creating education. This isn't just about us teaching young people. It's about seeing them as active partners. The whole idea is to get them involved in shaping the actual policies and the classes that are going to define their own future.
So, let's tie all these threads together, shall we? A sports icon steps down. New leaders step up. We're building tougher roads out of waste material and opening new gateways to space for startups. We're injecting billions into small businesses and celebrating an idea of education where the youth are in the driver's seat. Each headline is a totally different story, but when you put them all together, they paint this incredibly clear picture of a nation in a moment of really dynamic change.
These are just the events of one single day, but they're also the seeds of everything that's coming next. So it really makes you think, doesn't it? When people look back at this day, years from now, what bigger story of change, of challenge, and of ambition do you think they're going to see?